The Young and the Restless is entering a tense and dramatic phase, when Mariah discovers Tessa's bitter betrayal. Mariah's heart is broken when she realizes that her love for Tessa has been cruelly deceived. But this betrayal is not simply an emotional shock, it is also the beginning of a simmering war, where hatred and intrigue become the driving force behind Mariah's actions. Life before betrayal. Mariah has always been a strong, bold, and determined girl. She has built a relationship with Tessa since the first days they met, going through many challenges, difficulties, and also no shortage of sweet moments. Together they have overcome many storms, especially the times when it seemed like their love was about to fall apart. But Mariah always believed that Tessa's feelings for her were true. Tessa was the only one who could see Mariah for who she really was. She was the one who understood and accepted the fears and wounds that Mariah carried in her heart. Their love, though imperfect, was always passionate and meaningful. Mariah believed that she and Tessa would build a solid future together, a happy family. However, what Mariah did not expect was a change in Tessa, a change that she could not explain. She began to feel that something was wrong. Tessa became more distant and cold. The initial small signs such as unexplained calls or unexplained absences gradually accumulated into suspicion and a sense of loss. The painful betrayal. The real shock came when Mariah accidentally discovered that Tessa had a one-night stand with Daniel, the person she once called her best friend. This was not simply an emotional betrayal, but a deep deception, making Mariah feel that she had been deceived from the very beginning. Tessa's actions were like a powerful attack on Mariah's self-esteem, pushing her into a feeling of despair and anger that she could not contain. When she learned the truth, Mariah felt not only pain but also hatred rising in her heart. She could not understand why Tessa could do this to her, the person who had always been there for Tessa. This feeling of betrayal was so deep that Mariah could no longer recognize the person she once loved. She not only felt hurt, but also felt that she had been used, turned into a joke in Tessa's eyes. Mariah loses control. The anger and pain caused Mariah to start losing control. Love had turned into hatred, and the feelings she once had for Tessa were now only contempt. Mariah couldn't understand how Tessa could betray her like that, and the questions that tormented her had no answers. She tried to talk to Tessa, hoping to find a rational reason for her actions, but everything only made the situation worse. Tessa showed no remorse, but instead justified her actions with vague explanations, making Mariah even more angry. In her extreme anger, Mariah began to think about revenge. She couldn't bear to think of Tessa being with Daniel, while she had given her all her heart. The image of Tessa and Daniel together kept appearing in Mariah's mind, making her feel like she was being torn apart. Dark thoughts, bold actions began to form in Mariah's mind. She wanted revenge, wanted to make Tessa feel what she had gone through. In her rage, Mariah gradually transforms into a completely different person, one who no longer cares about the consequences, only wants to see Tessa pay for her betrayal. The war has only just begun as Mariah gets deeper into the fight with Tessa. She faces not only emotional pain but also unforeseen consequences. Her bold actions will create huge waves not only in her relationship with Tessa, but also affect those around her. Daniel, who Tessa spent the night with, is now caught up in this war. Mariah begins to discover dark secrets between Tessa and Daniel, intrigues she never knew about. She not only has to face the betrayal of the person she loves, but also a complex power game that Tessa and Daniel are orchestrating. This leads to tense situations where people are no longer friends, but opponents in a life-or-death fight. Mariah, determined to get revenge, will do whatever it takes to uncover the truth. She won't let Tessa and Daniel get away with their crimes. And in the process, Mariah will discover dark sides of herself she never knew existed, things that will change her forever. Unforeseen consequences. Mariah's fight has only just begun, and her bold actions will send ripples through the lives of all involved. As the betrayal reaches its climax, Mariah will face difficult choices. Will she continue to wallow in hatred and revenge, or will she find a way to resolve things differently, when it is all too late? Tessa, although seemingly still in love with Mariah, will not be able to escape the vengeance Mariah is planning for her. And this will create a tragic cycle where hatred will swallow up all that love and forgiveness can bring. As everything goes dark, the biggest question is, can Mariah find a way out of this rage, or will she let pain and hatred control her fate? The war between Mariah, Tessa, and Daniel certainly won't have an easy ending, and any change will leave deep wounds. The Young and the Restless is getting more and more dramatic and complicated, especially in the life of Mariah Copeland. After going through a risky and cruel business trip, Mariah seeks out Sharon Newman to share her feelings about an unfortunate incident that she deeply regrets. However, she cannot reveal the details of what really happened behind closed doors. A big wave is gradually forming, as Mariah feels drawn into a situation that is at odds with herself and the relationship she has built. The ambiguity in this development makes it impossible for the audience to stop speculating, especially when all eyes are on her actions and what is left unsaid. Mariah and Sharon, hidden pain in a quiet room. Mariah sits across from Sharon, who she has always considered a strong spiritual support throughout the years. However, this time, Mariah's words could not hide the pain in her heart. She could not help but feel that she was standing at a crossroads, where every decision, whether wrong or right, could affect the people around her. Mariah felt like a broken mirror, the fragments of wrong decisions that made her unable to forgive herself. Mariah had always prided herself on being a strong and steadfast woman, but the incident on this business trip made her doubt herself. What had happened, she could not reveal to Sharon, even a hint, because she knew in her heart that if she spoke, things would never be the same again. She knew that her actions would make Ian Ward, the father she had always worshipped, proud. But was that really the right thing to do? Was she following a path that Ian Ward, a scheming and ruthless man, would approve of? Guilt overwhelmed everything in Mariah. Especially when she thought about Tessa, the girlfriend she loved and devoted her whole heart to. Tessa had always been by Mariah's side, a strong support in the dark days. But now, Mariah couldn't look into Tessa's eyes without feeling overwhelmed with guilt. What had she done to deserve that love? Could their love continue after this incident, or had Mariah destroyed it all with her own uncontrollable actions? Mariah and Tessa. Love is fading. Tessa and Mariah have been through so many challenges together, from sweet moments together to storms, but they still stand firm. Mariah always believed that their love was eternal, an unbreakable bond. However, Mariah's actions during this business trip made her start to doubt the love she had for Tessa. She can't forget the hazy moments of that night, when she drank too much and may have lost her mind. She doesn't want to hurt Tessa, but in her drunken stupor, Mariah feels like a completely different person. And when she wakes up the next morning, all she remembers are fragments of a night she can't erase from her memory. Her actions make her feel like she betrayed her own heart. What will Tessa think when she learns the truth? Will she be able to forgive Mariah when everything is revealed, or is their love no longer something eternal? Tessa and Daniel. An unusual relationship. What makes the story even more complicated is the appearance of Daniel, whom Mariah once considered her best friend, but now seems to be part of the betrayal. The relationship between Tessa and Daniel, even if it was only for one night, is enough to make everything messy. Mariah couldn't understand why Tessa would choose Daniel, someone she trusted, over staying with her. The ambiguity of this incident left Mariah unable to find a rational reason, only knowing that her feelings for Tessa were starting to crack. This feeling of betrayal came not only from Tessa, but also from the relationships that Mariah thought were solid. Mariah and Ian, a complicated relationship. The ambiguity in the story is further complicated when Mariah mentions Ian Ward. He is the father she always worshipped, the man she thought would make her proud. But does Mariah really believe that Ian would appreciate her actions? Ian is a man who can use anyone to achieve his goals, and Mariah knows that, perhaps unwittingly, she is following the same path he once chose. But that path does not always lead to glory. Mariah wonders if she can continue to live in the shadow of her mistakes, or will she have to face the truth and find a way to fix what she has done. The biggest question in her mind right now is whether she can save her relationship with Tessa, or is it too late? Mariah and Tessa's future, an inner battle. As Mariah faces important decisions, she realizes that things are not simple. She must find a way to face her past, accept her mistakes, and decide whether she can continue to love Tessa, or let hatred and betrayal overwhelm her. Mariah's guilt comes not only from betraying love, but also from wondering if she can accomplish what Ian Ward wanted without hurting the people she loves. In this inner battle, Mariah will have to make difficult choices, and only by facing the truth can she find a clear path for her future with Tessa. In the end, where will the story go? Can Mariah overcome the darkness of betrayal and rebuild her love with Tessa, or will she choose a completely new path? The answer will open a new chapter of drama and excitement on The Young and the Restless. Mariah Copeland's life has always been admired by everyone for her strength and resilience. However, everything began to change when she discovered the painful betrayal of her girlfriend Tessa Porter, whom she always trusted and loved with all her heart. This action not only broke their love but also opened up a tense war, not only between her and Tessa, but also a war in Mariah's own soul, when she had to face conflicts, regrets and wrong decisions that made things go too far. Love is torn apart. Mariah has always given Tessa sincere care and affection. She never stopped believing in her love and Tessa, always thinking that the love between them would overcome all challenges. But the truth is always cruel, and Mariah had to face an unacceptable truth: Tessa betrayed her love to be with Daniel. Mariah's heart aches and pains as she discovers that her love was not enough to keep Tessa by her side. Instead, Tessa finds comfort in the arms of another man, a man Mariah once called her best friend. This betrayal is a shock to Mariah, making her unable to believe what she is witnessing. The feeling of abandonment and betrayal sends Mariah into a state of despair, and gradually, a dark thought begins to form in her mind. She cannot understand why Tessa could turn her back on her, the one who has always sacrificed for this love. The questions that torment Mariah's mind have no answers, and anger begins to blind her, leading her to a turn she never imagined. Mariah and Sharon. Confessions and restraint. In desperation, Mariah turns to Sharon Newman, her close friend and the person she has always trusted. Mariah wanted to share everything she had been through, but she couldn't open up completely. She couldn't tell Sharon all the details of the business trip she had been on, the events that she couldn't remember clearly after she woke up, especially what happened after she had too much to drink. The feeling of losing control, along with the vagueness of her memories of that night, made Mariah feel even more embarrassed and self-blaming. Still, she decided to confide in Sharon about her thoughts and feelings. Mariah said that her actions would make Ian Ward, whom she had always considered a role model, proud. However, she also wondered if Ian really admired her for betraying his love. Would what she did help her regain the respect of those she loved, or would it just make things worse? Sharon listened, but she couldn't help but feel the change in Mariah's eyes, the struggle between love and hate, between pride and pain. A night to remember. Tessa and Daniel. While Mariah struggled with her uncontrollable emotions, Tessa was also facing the consequences of her actions. Her relationship with Daniel was not a long-term affair, but it was a devastating moment of surprise. One night, just one night, and everything changed forever. Tessa not only lost Mariah's trust, but also lost the security she had once felt in Mariah's love. When Mariah discovered this, she felt not only betrayed but also humiliated. Tessa and Daniel, two people she once considered friends, had blatantly lied to her. This left Mariah unable to control her emotions. She felt like a completely different person, one she didn't even recognize. The anger, humiliation, and pain mixed together made it impossible for Mariah to think clearly, and all that was left in her mind was thoughts of revenge, a way to erase that feeling of humiliation and pain. An internal war. Mariah and Tessa is unaware of the extent of the pain Mariah is going through, focusing only on healing the wounds in her relationship with Mariah. However, as the truth gradually comes to light, Mariah cannot forgive her. Mariah's feelings of betrayal are so deep that she cannot face Tessa without feeling guilty and angry. Tessa's every explanation seems to only make Mariah more confused and hurt. Mariah is caught between hatred and love, between self-respect and the desire for revenge. Her words, the bold actions she is about to take, are all part of a larger battle she must face, a battle to regain respect, to regain control of her life. But can she truly overcome this hatred, or will she push herself down a path of no return? Consequences and guilt. When Mariah stands before Tessa, she doesn't know what to say. Can she forgive Tessa? Or will she have to face the consequences she has created for herself? When she finally opens up to Tessa, things will never be the same again. They will both face difficult choices, and Mariah's decision will affect not only her but everyone around her. Will Mariah be able to find herself again, or will she let hatred and guilt rule her life forever? And can Tessa save this relationship, or will she lose Mariah forever? The battle between Mariah, Tessa, and Daniel has only just begun, and things will go further than the audience can imagine.